Well, now it's celebration time, the 200th edition of our ever-popular motorsport magazine show, Power Sports International.
Old, and for this bicentenary bash we've dug deep into the archives for the best of the action from the last 4 years. You can sit back and enjoy the birthday celebrations with us. Touring car racing has always been a feature of power sports, and the World Touring Car Championship of 1987 looked like being a real winner, but it was unceremoniously dropped at the end of the season. Nevertheless, there was some fine racing, as the James Hardy 1000 at Bathurst showed. It also showed what happens when slick tyres come into contact with a wet road. As Gary Brabham smacked the wall, the Eggenberger Sierras crossed the line first, but local favourite Peter Brock and his Holden won the race in the protest room. To the final round at Wellington in New Zealand, the country where the series was born and died. A street race around the harbour, an undisputed victory to the Ford Sierras, which gave them the manufacturer's title, but Italy's Roberto Ravaglia became the only World Touring Car Drivers' Champion in his BMW. It goes without saying that the Tin Tops are the biggest racing draw in the Southern Hemisphere, and we've had the unrivalled Channel 7 coverage of the Australian Touring Car Championship over the past 4 years. Kiwi Jim Richards barged his black BMW past the Nissans of George Fury and Glenn Seaton to take the title in 1987, grabbing the crown in the final round at Oran Park. Queenslander Dick Johnson's Red Sierras set the standard in 1988, proving invincible alongside teammate Tasmanian John Bowe. He also led the Europeans a merry dance for a while on a visit to the 1988 TT at Silverstone. Another 1-2 to the Shell Sierras, and in 1989 they again dominated until the Australian Touring Car Championship visited the tight Winton circuit in Victoria. Let's join Mike Raymond for the action.
Racing, Colin Bond gets the jump and is out quickly. Longhurst goes with him, Brock picks it up on the inside and Seaton comes for the run as well. Bond will lead them into the first turn. And they all negotiate turn number 1 okay. There's Brad Jones going through in the second of the mobile cars. Now through the tight corner that leads them down the first of the short straights here at Winton. Brock, the order. Second, held by Bond. Third by Glenn Seaton in the Peter Jackson car. And a brilliant start from John Bowe in the number 18 Shell Sierra as they work their way up towards Penrite corner. Brocky at this stage with the run of the race. There's Bowe putting pressure on Glenn Seaton already. Tony Longhurst is the next one up. Jimmy Richards. Plenty of traffic congestion as they fight their way out of that corner. And they head up to the next to the right-handers. Tony Longhurst caught wide. This is really Village Grand Prix material through this part of the circuit.
Apart from a lot of us getting in trouble with qualifying yesterday and not getting our best foot forward down because of the weather, the fellow that gets on pole never gets there by accident.
Here comes Jimmy Richards, this time down the inside of John Bowe. And takes him too, so Jimmy Richards, the Rainmaster, carrying our Dulux Auto Colour race cam, now moves to third. And if there has been a big mover in this pack as well, it has to be Alan Grice, who started out of position number 12. Here's Richards making a big run round the outside of Glenn Seaton. This is heady stuff. Bang, just a little tap there. And getting sideways out of the turn was Glenn Seaton, so it gives you the impression that Jim Richards wants to get up and race with Peter Brock early in the event.
Just about everyone started on rain tires, Mike, so they'll have a certain degree of grip, but one of the problems that's going to unfold here rather quickly.
Oh!
There we go.
Richards is off.
No.
So Seaton.
There's Jim.
What a pity. Well, early laps of the race, as long as they don't get bogged in that grass, they might just... Jim's spinning his wheels like crazy. If he just keeps the momentum, he might get it going. Looks like Glenn is stuck.
Here comes Scaife, I believe, down on the inside of John Bow. Moment of truth.
That's George Fury.
Georgie Fury. Now, he started so far back in the pack out of 10, so they're starting to really stand on the gas. Brock leads them across the straight. We'll catch it in a second, but Alan Grice is just making a chance like you couldn't believe. Fury in a second. John Bow.
Grice is up to 4th.
And there's the replay on our Caltex. As you can see it, the touch between Jimmy Richards and Glenn Seaton, taking them out of the racetrack area and down onto the infield. That really is a pity. And he's got the wood over Tony Longhurst as Glenn Seaton
Takes the long way home.
sprints through Ned Kelly country to find a way back to the pits. There's Brad Jones going through in the 105 Mobile Sierra. That's amazing, you know. Tom Walkinshaw has decided through whatever Holden special vehicles not to go running this year. That's taken Grice just to dust the cobwebs off the Les Small car. Come to Winton after being in Japan 2 weeks ago, Charlotte last weekend, and show that the Commodore at least can stay up there and stay in touch with the boys.
It's quite ironical when companies don't have enough faith in their product to support the people that are working with them, isn't
Here
it?
goes Richards again up the inside, into the home
got him.
straight. He's got the front.
Fury goes through on the inside to take over the lead in the 7th round of the Touring Car Championship. And what was looking good for Peter Brock this weekend, top qualifier and leading off the start. He's now been hosed by George Fury, and Alan Grice is now arriving in the Commodore.
It'll only be a matter of time here as well, Mike. Gricey's got a nice grip on the road, and I think he'll... there, he's done it already.
Look at this, Grice straight through the inside of Peter Brock.
A dice for a position, and as such, Alan Grice is quite entitled to take the inside line on every corner he can, and Tony has to slingshot himself back, and he may just be lining himself up here carefully, approach to the back straight, and he'll come out a little bit earlier than I would have expected, but it's not a very long straight, and here they are under brakes now. Grice is not having anything to do with it. Could be a touch here, and he's made it. He's got a whoop.
Yes, he said, you want to do that? We'll have a bit of that.
That's
Back the other way. Thanks, pal.
absolutely almost legend Grice. That's standard Grice procedure. As such, giving no quarter, probably a little bit uncalled for. Tony did get the better of him under brakes there, but he's not going to get out of that mud puddle.
Well, Tony wants a hand to get out, but I think he's going to need Mike Nelson.
He's had it now, mate. The only thing he's going to be
Grice,
warming up would be the tadpoles.
Let's have a look at this.
He's going to bang some door handles here today.
Well, there, Tony's gone in, giving him a tap there.
I could probably, I'll take my words back. Tony's initial bump there got Gricey's hair up, and it was tit for tat. And of course, the Commodore came off better. Sierra second best, but there's no prizes for.
There he goes again. He's ducked to the inside, squeezed up on the inside, slithers through. Gricey's given him some room, and Mark Scaife through to the lead.
Leads a round of the Touring Car Championship, Mark Scaife.
You can see here Peter now totally happy on the dry line, where he's able to throw the car around a little bit, get the power on, and instantly catapult the car.
Oh, Larry. Oh, Lyndon Riefmuller. Across the grass, the concrete wall.
Once you get on that grass, it's lethal. You actually go faster than the speed you were going when you left the tarmac. George isn't going to take any chances.
They're coming up on a bunch of cars. It includes Dick Johnson's number 17.
Oh, Brocky threw it.
Blew it himself.
Almost felt that one coming. He was going so strongly through that left-hander, and it's much tighter than the camera angle shows.
Let's have a look what happened to Peter Brock.
This is from race cam. He's
Whoa.
already...
Valiant.
That's full lock. There ain't no
He
more.
tried hard. He couldn't go any further, Neil. Header
He's
over.
already got her in the gear he wants.
No.
Look at that.
Yeah, not fooling around. Nice recovery.
One more lap perhaps for...
I make it 59 minutes and 37 seconds.
Perseverance pays off in any business, Mike, and you're looking at it paying dividends.
Oh, no, George, hang on to it. My
Yes.
goodness me, the farmer got excited.
Well, it just shows that you can't lose concentration for a millisecond around here. There's
And
a
look who's
patch.
behind him.
That's Brock, 3 car lengths behind in the scrap for the checkered flag. It is not over. It's now exactly 60 minutes and 1 second into this race.
Here comes George, and all of a sudden it becomes paramount to get on with this because he's got Brock closing again on him after spinning off the racetrack and coming back.
The order: Fury, Brock, then Scaife, then Grice, then Brad Jones, and these two men scrapping for the lead in the absolute closing stages of this race.
They come down the back straight now for the final time. Madecki pulling out to try and get Johnson. He's already passed Johnson. Brock making up ground now on the Nissan.
Oh, one of the shell cars has gone in front of them. If he comes back, he could cop Fury. No, he misses him. Goodness gracious me.
Here comes George Fury. Last corner, checkered flag. The Sierra domination is broken. George Fury wins at Winton Motor Raceway. Peter Brock places second.
Despite this Nissan victory, the title once again went to Johnson, with John Bowe in second place. But by 1990, the opposition was catching up. Nissan debuted the Group A version of the four-wheel drive, four-wheel steer twin-turbo Skyline GT4 at round 5, Malala. It led the race in the hands of Mark Scaife, jumping past Peter Brock here, whilst John Bowe and Andrew Madecki displayed some fundamental physics in their Sierras. The Nissan's debut came unstuck with brake problems, leaving the way clear for veteran Colin Bond to produce a mid-series brace of wins, and it was once again down to the final round at Oran Park. Jim Richard was entrusted with the Japanese supercar and duly proceeded to trounce the opposition. The Sierras battled for second place, but the Nissan team took its first title, and Jim Richards took his third Drivers' Championship. The Group N version of the Skyline was to make its presence felt in the hands of Keith O'Dore in the new British Esso Saloon Car Championship. 4 classes, sprint races, 1-hour races, 500-kilometre events, and the Esso Will Hire 24 Hours at Snetterton produced as varied a discipline as has been seen on the British calendar. O'Dore took the large capacity class with Matt Neal's BMW, Roger Jones's Golf, and Graham Churchill's Honda Civic, their respective classes. And Jones won the overall title on a count back from Neal at the last round at Alton Park. Let's join Neville Hay for highlights of one of the season's best races from Castle Combe.
Round 12 of the championship, and Keith O'Dore's Nissan faces opposition from Paul, son of Barry Lee, Graham Davies and Simon Weston, the Falklands hero, the top 4 as they get away, tucking in behind them the Saab there of Lionel Abbott. But it's O'Dore, Davies, Paul Lee, Simon Weston, the Falklands man, and there is Matt Neal just ahead of James Prakowski's Ford. Here are the leaders once more. And what a battle going on behind. Look out for Steve Monk moving up fast as there's a clash there. And number 9, Dave Pinkney, suffers a front bumper damage. We're in car with Matt Neal. Bang up the back of Pinkney's car once more. And this is a very bumpy circuit indeed. You can see the drivers being thrown around a bit. Up on the inside comes Dave Bartram. Bartram snatches a place from Neal. It doesn't matter, he's a class ahead of him. And here are the top 4 once again. And this is Steve Monk coming on the inside of Weston there, trying to take his place away. And Simon having to give best. Monk, who was the star of this series at Mallory Park. And there's Lionel Abbott right behind. Matt Neal, once again, crosses to the apex of this bumpy circuit, gets leaned upon from behind. And the man who's doing the leaning is still Dave Bartram. And behind Lee is his greatest rival, Griffin there with the other BMW, and Bartram still has to be dealt with by the young Hagley driver. This is Monk on the inside this time of Lee, and Lee doesn't like it, gets it back together again and challenges once again with Simon Weston watching it all happen. Monk now into 3rd place, chasing Davis ahead of him in the other Sierra, and Keith O'Dore ahead in the lead still. And that smoke's coming from 2nd place man, and 2nd place man has a problem. This is the end of the race as far as number 4 Graham Davis is concerned. and Monk is going to catch and pass him. Out goes Simon Weston into the tar barrier. The man who reckoned they'd buried the planes under the tarmac, that's why it's so bumpy. And this is Monk now into second place with Lee leading. And Barry Lee's son acquitting himself very well here. Paul Lee, a young man, obviously going places. He's got it sideways and goes back in front of Monk. This is exciting racing in the Esso Saloon Championship this year as Monk tries to regain that place, does so on the inside. Lee's offline. Wheel bouncing onto the grass. Can he collect it back together? He keeps his foot down, he does. But he loses the place nevertheless. And once again, on the inside, it's Monk. A brush between the two of them, neatly avoided. This is not a contact sport, though sometimes you doubt it. As Monkey tries to get through, and Lee once again has come in front of him. But Lee gets it sideways. Lee spins onto the grass, catches it again sideways, showing immaculate car control, and he's back on the circuit to lose one more place as he does so. So in the lead, it's Keith Odor, going well, going hard. Monk behind him at a respectable distance. We're in car with Graham Coombs. That's James Latham, who he clips. They both spin out, they're both on the grass. They both collect it together again. And actually, onto the track they go with Coombs, getting back in front as a result of it, as the checkered flag is out for Odor once again to take a win in the Esso Saloon Championship. Steve Monk is second, Paul Lee is third, and in his class, Matt Neal takes victory from Steve Griffith.
Back after the break on this anniversary Power Sports International with truck racing action. The trucks have always been a feature of power sports, and in 1987 we saw more professionalism come into the series, and Swede Slim Borgud established himself as the man to beat. 1988 and Kurt Goranson displaying his legendary control in the wet or the dry, whilst others, including Goranson's teammate Pauline Stewart, try some formation parking in Denmark. The Swede was always the big draw, but in 1989 Mercedes began showing their muscle, producing very competitive machinery, as Goranson is about to be clouded by Rafi Gorit at the Oostenrijk Ring. Thomas Heckman emerged as the champion in 1989, but 1990 saw Steve Parrish in his Mercedes produce the class result to take the title. Best race of the season was earlier this year at Brands Hatch.
Hegeman, Goranson on the outside of him. Also well placed there too is František Vojtěch. And Steve Parrish struggling to get himself up there too. A lot of work for Slim Borgard and a lot of work too for Gerd Korber, and don't forget how well he went during the heat. Oh, Goranson gets sideways. And we're in truck now with Slim Borgard as he forces his way through, or does he? No, the door's very firmly shut there. And Borgard has got to deal with Van der Marwitz and is not finding this easy, as Van der Marwitz has got a very big truck. Borgard still trying to find a way, and look, as Borgard tries to find his way through, we've got Gerd Korber trying exactly the same thing behind him. In the lead, however, the story is before Hegeman. Goranson trying to get through. Here's Borgard having another go at Van der Marwitz. This time, it looks as if he's got him. Slim Borgard definitely got through this time. So Van der Marwitz has Gerd Korber now behind him. And Korber will no doubt be trying conclusions very shortly. Grabbed under braking there, and you saw that track, you know, huge weave. He got off the brakes quickly. Still, Hegeman in the lead. Second place, Parrish. Third place, Goranson. Fourth place, Vojtěch. And a remarkable performance by Vojtěch there with a little truck. Fifth place, Slim Borgard. And here's Goranson setting about Steve Parrish, and Steve Parrish setting about keeping his place. Through on the inside of František Vojtěch comes a very, very determined Slim Borgard. Borgard now up to fourth. Let's have a look. Yes, we've got Corber up behind now, and Corber still making progress. As once again we've got Parrish under pressure, but the Mercedes seems to have a little bit more grunt there than Göransson. And Göransson has to take the late braking manoeuvre. Scrabbles through, opposite lock going into the corner. We're in truck with Borgard, we can see what's happening. Can see Göransson straighten it up. Now we can see Steve Parrish coming alongside him again. And Parrish leaves a space on the inside, and Borgard's in it. Borgard leading, they touch. Borgard still staying on the inside. And Parrish crosses over, closes the gap. You can see the damage to the front wing of Borgard's truck. And Borgard looking for the inside. Parrish has got a big truck. His rear bumper, or rather rear wing there, caught a fairly healthy crack from Slim Borgard. It rose in the air. I don't think it's going to be there much longer. So Parrish under pressure, steam coming from the brakes. Corber watching all this. One mistake on their part, there could be a problem. Borgard alongside. The Mercedes once again has the power. You can see that rear wing. It's flapping about. It's about to come off. Any minute now. It's off. Fortunately, as Borgard goes through on the inside rather than in front of it. So Steve Parrish displaced, and Slim Borgard, who is determined to win this Mobile Truck Super Prix for Mobile, is up to third place. Hegman leads, Göransson second, Borgard third, Parrish fourth, Corber fifth. Now, can any more progress be made by this tremendous effort that's been putting up by Slim Borgard? Borgard closing up. This is Göransson. A rare chance to watch Göransson there from in cab. And we see the first three, and of course Lapri is the next thing they've got to deal with, as Krasnai is one of the people who've got to be overtaken. In truck again, Borgard alongside Göransson. Göransson making that track as narrow as he can, but playing very fair there. Leaving the space for Borgard to go through into second place. So Slim Borgard in second place now, gets ahead of Göransson. There's the leader, Thomas Hegman ahead of him. There's Lapri to be sorted out as well. But Hegman, very much in charge at the moment, goes past a slower truck. In fact, going past Krasnai there. Krasnai has a problem, I think. It looked to me as if it was possibly brakes, possibly a tyre. But here's the leader, Hegman. Hegman coming out with Borgard on his tail. Borgard looking for a way. He'll try the inside, no. Can't get quite onto the inside here of the Mercedes. Evenly matched. Out of the corner is the place to watch them. Borgard a slightly tighter line coming out. Both of them drifting. Göransson sliding viciously behind in third place. He's not given up yet. He's got his headlights on. Past the pits, the Mercedes power getting away a little bit. Into paddock, galloping up, under braking. Slim Borgard, one-time drummer for the ABBA pop group. Formula 3000 driver, Formula 1 driver, a brief career in Formula 1. But now confining himself to driving trucks, and also, in fact, preparing the Mazdas for the new Mazda Championship, where he's done all the engineering and chassis tuning on that. And Borgard got the inside this time, and Borgard's through. Two wheels on the grass there. Hegman suddenly lost his ability. You see the fist go up. Borgard snatches the lead, and that was a mistake on Hegman's part. Now we've got another problem here for Steve Parrish. He's got Gerd Corber on his tail, and Corber is not going to want to be satisfied with finishing behind Parrish. Got the inside in the awkward place, and Parrish, ever the gentleman, lets him go through there. He could have made life difficult, but Steve Parrish was not going to play silly games. It's going to depend on the power of the Mercedes, perhaps, to catch up with and have a go. So Slim Borgard has got it made. Göransson trying for the outside. Out comes the tail. They're alongside each other. It's a power battle to the line, and I bet on the Mercedes doing it. The Mercedes in second place. Göransson in third place. Corber in fourth place. Parrish still should be fifth as the flag goes out for Slim Borgard to win from Hegman and Kurt Göransson here at Brands Hatch, the Mobile Truck Super Prix.
Schwantz raced to his first victory ahead of Australian World Champion Wayne Gardner and Suzuka in the opening round of the championship. Eddie Lawson scored a home win at Laguna Seca, and to Spain there was something in the air. Riders. Here Francesco Chili, Tadahiko Taira and Britain's Ron Haslam taste the tarmac, as Aussie Kevin McGee rounds up Lawson and scores his first GP win. Onto the Salzburg Ring in Austria, and Schwantz parts company with his bike, as Lawson takes the win from Gardner. The Australian then produced a mid-season revival, but this ended at Paul Ricard as his Honda expired on the last lap. Donington and a flag-to-flag victory for Wayne Rainey. Schwantz takes out Haslam on the first lap. Marco Papa comes a cropper, and Big Rob McElnay sheds the Suzuki. Gardner won the second last race of the year at Renault, but in Brazil it was Randy Mamola's famous tumble. This wasn't the biggest attraction though. Eddie Lawson lifted the crown to take another world championship. Our 2L activities recently have centred on the UK Masters Supercross. Here's Mike Braband with this year's final round. The championship still to be decided.
This is all the trials and problems, successes and failure of the entire season goes on this last 12 minutes. And it's between two riders right now. It's between number 1, Ryan Hunt, and Julian Ralston is down on the deck. Ralston crashes on turn 1, so is Jim Watley. Julian Ralston on the number 11 Yamaha is on the ground. He's way back down the pack. He got tied up in a tangle on the far end, and we see him back in about 8th or 9th place. Can't believe this. Ralston may be knocked out of it. Presswood is in the lead, 16. Macmillan in 2nd. Ryan Hunt's back in 5th position. They go down the far straight. Terrible bit of luck for Julian Ralston. He'll get up. He'll try to get through this pack. We certainly hope he can do something. Ryan Hunt further back down. He's back in about 5th position. I'm sure he doesn't realize what's happened to Julian Ralston. He's got racing on his mind as he goes around the top end. Rain is falling here. It's raining quite hard. The track is slippery. He comes down. Same maneuver on Macmillan that he did last time, and he's got the better line coming in the straight. Winds it open. Presswood in front of him on the Yamaha. Now Presswood and Ryan Hunt are fellow countrymen. They've raced against each other. Back with Julian Ralston looking down. He's got mechanical problems. Ralston is out of it. The back brake is broken on the Yamaha. Ralston is out of it. He waves his hands in the air. Tragedy strikes Team Yamaha. Julian Ralston leading the championship going into this race. The brake is broken on the back part of his bike. Morrison crashes into the side of Macmillan in front of him, so Morrison is down on the deck. You can see Flash Gordon coming through. These two guys have raced in South Africa for something like 11 years. They were schoolboy champions together. So Ryan Hunt knows this guy in front of him very, very well. But if there's ever an Iceman, if there's ever anyone who can carve their way through meticulously, it's Rocket Ryan Hunt. We just caught a glimpse of Ralston in front of him, but he's about 3 laps down, trying to limp around on the Yamaha, and it makes no difference because Ralston is right out of it now. We'll have to wait and see. It all lies on Ryan Hunt where he finishes in this race as to whether he's going to win the championship for the 2nd year running or not. The rest of the field is bunched up there in the center, but Carl Presswood running away with this. He's got Ryan Hunt on his back door now. Hunt will try. He'll leave it to the last minute. If you remember, in round 1, Presswood led it right up to the last lap. This is it. It is the last lap. What is going through Carl Presswood's mind now? He lost round number 1 on the last lap. He got picked up from behind. He's got slower riders in front of him. This could cause a problem for him. The rider moves over on the inside. It's still Hunt in 2nd, Presswood in the lead, the Yamaha. Presswood looks over his shoulder. He sees Hunt closing up. Now he knows Hunt will try and get past him. Hunt's got everything to go for and nothing to lose. He's going to try and win this race. He's going to try and win the championship. He knows Julian Ralston. 2,500 screaming, cheering fans on the far side of the circuit, waving programs, jumping up and down. They want Presswood to take this. Hunt's right on his back door. You can see they've slowed down because the track is so slippery. The surfaces around some of the corners are polished. They got to approach him with caution, and at the same time, he can't afford to make a mistake. Into the left-hander for the last time in this race. It's the Yamaha number 7, Carl Presswood. everything to go for. Ryan Hunt on the Honda, number 1, right behind him. They got 100 yards to go to the finish line. The crowd is cheering. Crestwood's going to take the win. Hunt's going to take the championship around the bottom end. 2 South Africans up in the air on the far side, waving their hands to the crowd. Everybody going absolutely mad here at Worcester. Both feet off the pegs. Photographers clipping. Pictures all over the place.
So a win to Carl Crestwood ahead of Hunt, Rennie, Matt Gordon, Warren Edwards and Barry Johnson, and that gave the title to Ryan Hunt, the big prize money again by 1 point over second place man Julian Lawson. Carl Crestwood came in third ahead of Prattley, Watley and Gordon. And we finish this part of Power Sports with some of the season's tumbles. We've covered recently. Formula Vauxhall Lotus has established itself with a wide appeal, and the British Series attracted many aspiring champions from around the world. Often running with oversubscribed grids, there was plenty of action to follow, and by series end, 3 different drivers had led the championship, and 6 drivers won the 11 rounds, including Gilles de Ferrand and Kurt Luby, and Japan's Shinji Nakano. Ultimately, Italy's Vincenzo Sospiri proved to be the most complete driver and took the title. Brands provided plenty of action in round 6.
We're in car with Mark Albon, well down the grid there. In pole position there is David Coulthard. Away he goes. A beautiful start for a man who's going places this year. And this is the cue as they go into Paddock Bend. You can see it tightening all the time. In car again, Albon on the outside. Must try and get himself, I think, onto the inside in this traffic. The leader, Coulthard, looking as if he's got things quite nicely under control at the moment, and are coming together there. Off into the boonies goes Charles Burp, and no real harm done except he's stuck. This is Albon once again. You can see he's working away to try and find his way through the traffic there. Honeysett in the midst of that pack. Boris Kiaka gets a touch there from another car, gets it back together again. Side by side, fighting it out. All the way down there, Scott Lakin with Honeysett. Honeysett losing out a little bit. I think the front wing on that car's got a bit of damage. There's the leader through. Nakano in second place. And a very, very tight little pack coming in there behind. Kurt Luby trying to work his way up. You can see how tight these cars are as they come down. Castro Santos, another of the Continental drivers, the Portuguese going well, but there is Coulthard very much in charge. The Japanese Nakano. Behind him there, the championship leader, Suspiri, the Italian. You can see the bent wing there on the front of Honeysett's car. As down through clearways they go. In car, once again, that's Castro Santos in front of the camera car. Mark Alban looks at the outside, looks at the inside, dives for that inside, leaves his braking lane. Look at that front wheel, scrabbling for grip, touches the curb, and gets it nicely under control. Suspiri, followed by Scott Lakin. Lakin in trouble. Gets it sideways. Into the barrier he goes. Honeysett inherits the place. He's out of the race. As Coulthard goes through, and his teammate coming up from the back of the grid, Gilda Ferran in number 14, trying to make some ground. And a wicked coming together there. Ben Edwards being bunted in the side there by 44 Peter Olsen as Coulthard in the final stages of this race is well under control, in charge of the situation. Another car involved there was 41 Stephen Pontin-Wautier. He tries to regain the circuit. Coulthard on his way up though, towards the flag, to take victory here. A fine win for David Coulthard. In second place, Nakano from Japan, and in third place, Vincenzo Sospiri from Italy.
However, Suspiri didn't have the same success in the GM Lotus Euro Series, having to take second place behind the impressive young Brazilian Rubens Barrichello. Another series that's come to the fore is Formula Renault, which provided competitive racing and produced another Brazilian winner, Thomas Erdos. As ever, there's been plenty of incident this year. The World Inshore Powerboating Series certainly provided the most graceful and explosive of incidents, as Chuck McKay found out at Augusta and Michael Werner likewise in Dublin. American Chris Busch won in 1988, but 1989 belonged to Welshman John Jones, securing the title and the most spectacular flips at the same time. Firstly at Nottingham, followed by a repeat performance in Italy. Neville Hay joins Eric Michel for the St. Louis race, round 5 of the series, which provided the usual quota of incident.
The crowd, whipped up into a frenzy by the commentator, waits with 10 seconds to go before the start of the 5th round of the World Championship. Down goes the flag, and they're away. And a tremendous start there. And it looks to me as if it's Mike Seabold who's sneaking into the lead as they rocket off on this first lap, Eric.
Well, it's Mike Seabold, yes, just ahead of Don Johnston, Chris Busch just behind. They go across the course to turn 2 first, and then round turn 2. And it's Mike Seabold and Don Johnston who have got the lead at the moment, and they're side by side now as they come down the Merrimack Straight and down towards us at turn 3 into the island turn, 130 miles an hour. And Johnston just pushes through and takes the lead.
Yes, Johnston had the inside line there, and obviously was going to take what advantage he could. And these two already are building up something of a lead in close proximity still, and you can see the problems that Busch has if he gets any closer.
So Don Johnston out in the lead once again, a position that he's occupied so many times, and adopting a position of great pressure. 19 other boats sitting right behind him as he trims the boat perfectly, comes down the Merrimack Strait, into the island turn. And at the moment, no sign of Bill Siebold whatsoever.
Bill Siebold, in fact, back in 6th place as we watch Don Johnson get on with the job. Here's the battle for 12th, and that is an enormous accident. That's Jim McKay and Cappellini. We saw them in close proximity before. There has been a gigantic collision between them.
Cappellini is out. On the left of your picture there, he's out. This is McKay and the official rescue team. McKay is upside down inside that capsule at the moment, and they're going to have a great deal of difficulty getting to him.
Yes, enclosed capsule here, but of course the problem is that the water is so shallow. We referred to this earlier on, and so it's not a question of the boat being upside down and McKay able to release himself. In fact, he's pinned in as a racing driver would be in a saloon without any doors on it.
You can see McKay's orange helmet there. The rescue crew desperately fighting to get this boat over, and the water draining out of his helmet. He seems to be okay though, and they're lifting him out. Jim McKay, a very, very lucky driver indeed, and he looks across at Guido Cappellini as if to say, well, I don't think it was my fault. So we wait there at the red lights, 10 seconds. Chris Bush on pole, then Mike Siebold, Jim Johnson, Steve Curtin, Steve D'Souza, Bill Siebold, and they're away. Don Johnston and Chuck McKay comes off the start pontoon like a rocket there. Away they go, across turn 2, and they come out towards us, across this box-shaped course, going to turn 2 for the first lap only, and out into the lead, and it looks like Jim Johnson just ahead of Mike Siebold.
Yes, Siebold there in 2nd place. Johnston, it looks in the lead, but we're very surprised they're on the inside. I think you can see the erstwhile leader, the other Johnston, but it is Siebold.
And it's
fighting
Bill
it out.
Siebold.
Bill Siebold fighting it out up there. Bill Siebold really pushing hard, Jim Johnston with him.
Siebold taking command, taking the lead here. He must have come right through the middle of the pack to find his lead there, and Jim Johnson hanging onto his tail now as they go back down towards turn 1, and they approach turn 1. Through there, left, hard, and out towards turn 2, across to the Merrimack River. They'll turn left again, and then down the long Merrimack Strait, reaching 140 miles an hour before they come to the toughest turn. Here is Bill Siebold. This is the hardest turn on the course. Round he goes, and he's really taken this race by the scruff of the neck. There's Jim Johnson away, following Greg Foster as they go down towards turn 1, into turn 1. Johnson back now, and he's over! Johnson has rolled on turn 1.
Yes, that was almost an inexplicable roll. He seemed to be reasonably stable. The race will be stopped, and Bill Siebold is going to have it all to do all over again and must be wondering what he has to do. It's less than 10 seconds to go. The flag is waved and they're away for the 3rd restart here in St. Louis. And I'd like to see who was doing that peculiar maneuver at the back, Eric.
Well, some of the slower drivers will sometimes adopt a faster line to the turn once the rest of the boats have moved away from the course. And remarkably, that looked like Kevin Miller taking the lead there. It is. It's Kevin Miller, World Series race rookie, and he's in the lead on this. In fact, the 2nd restart and the 3rd total start that we've had. Jones back in 3rd, but quickly overtaken now by Chris Bush. Bush moving up behind McKay. There's Jones. Gilman in number 77, putting the pressure on Jonathan Jones. Jones in the lee craft, Gilman in a Siebold. And a great mixture of boats here as Bill Siebold now moves up. He got a much, much slower start on the restart here.
Yes, we've seen the eclipse of the Siebold's father and son at the 2nd restart, and that could be problematical. Don't forget how important it is to Bill Siebold to get some points up there on the board, and for Mike come to that, and this is Siebold country, their own home ground. And one thing they will not want to do is to see themselves eclipsed by the Europeans here.
Well, Jones in the lee craft there, very high out of the water, sitting high on the water. Bill Siebold just behind, Scott Gilman round the inside. And out of the turn comes Bill Siebold, trying to get his way up past Gilman. He's trying to get past Gilman, and still having to run parallel with them as they go back down, away from turn 4, towards the beach turn at turn 1, with Chuck McKay sitting right on the tail of Miller in the Castleberry boat and looking for every way he knows how to get through. And here they come. Here comes McKay. Use the slow back marker as the cushion and round the inside. Yes, on turn 3, round the inside of Miller, taking the lead here in the St. Louis Grand Prix, round 5 of the World Championship in 1989. Look at this, down into turn 3. Chuck McKay in number 9. Through turn 3, plus 4 Gs. Chris Bush just behind him like a rocket ship out of the turn. There is the last lap flag. So the big question is, will Bush take the advantage? Will he put the challenge on McKay, or is he going to leave McKay to take the lead and be certain of 6 World Championship points himself? Here comes Bush now, and he's running up alongside McKay, and it's neck and neck. They're on the last lap, the last straight, the Merrimack straight, right down the outside, into turn 3, Neville, and down to you for the checkered flag.
That's Wagner on the inside there. He has in fact made it impossible for Bush. Bush has had to go wide. And here is the man who's going to win. Bush went wide. The man who wins this race. A beautiful drive there by Chuck McKay to take the checkered flag. Perhaps Chris Bush taught him too well.
We'll be back next week to begin our coverage of the 1990 Inshore and Offshore Championships, as we leave you with more reminders of 200 editions of Power Sports.